welcome back to another episode of Kyushalimit. Today we are finally getting to putting some parts on the Kenmeri. In the background there, we got the driven show in Calgary here coming up this Saturday, and it needs a little bit of love before it can probably make it there without any hiccups. It needs a new battery, which I haven't purchased yet, but will be in this episode. It needs a new fuel pump, which I had ordered from Japan a little while ago. I wanted to keep true to the fuel pump that it had, which is this kind of classic style. There's a lot of debate about the fact that these are supposed to be mounted at the tank and push. However, I don't know. There's lots of cars that have it mounted like what appears to be in a factory location right there. So honestly, I'm not going to redo, sorry guys, honestly, I'm not going to redo all the lines, mounting, etc., to put it in the back, which maybe is the correct way. There's nothing wrong with this pump. It actually still functions fine. It's just really loud and kind of embarrassing, if I'm being honest. When I fire the car up and it primes the fuel line, it's quite loud until it has a bit of fuel primed in it. And I'm just worried that it's going to just like quit on me one day. So anyways, this was purchased from M-Speed in Japan. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic, a little bit different lines on it. I won't use the banjos the same way, but roughly the same style setup. So gonna do that. We're also gonna do an oil change and the battery obviously. And the last thing is I'm hoping to figure out the linkage and throttle cable to get the Solexes on here. So yeah, that's going to be probably most of what we got going on. There's still some other things the car needs, but I won't have time to get it done before the weekend. It does need heater core hoses, and I ordered these also from M-Speed, and they're just bent specifically for the car with all the right 90s. Additionally, the signal stock internal parts, so there's actually this pin right here is broken in the existing one, and I purchased this one actually over the winter time on eBay. Got super lucky and pulled this out of Australia, and with a super clean wiper selector on it as well. So I don't know if I'll get to this, but that is something else that we also need to replace. And then this is just one of the 3D printed ones you would have seen in my previous video, shifter trim. I have a finished one inside, so we also got to put that in. And with the Solexes, this is going to offer us a very small amount of filtration, but at least it'll keep large foreign objects out. So got these as well from Yahoo in Japan, and they're for the Solexes for the 44s. So that'll get sandwiched essentially in between the velocity stack and just offer a little bit of filtration without affecting the overall aesthetic appeal of the stacks. I've been running this car with just open velocity stacks, and I mean, it's probably not advised, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think we're gonna run the manifold that's already on the car and just move the carbs over. And also, huge shout out to Final Heaven / Jamal. These are a very hard to find Mikuni part from Japan. Also, unfortunately, very expensive, but in order to get the proper, they're often referred to as like Solex pipe fittings in the shitty Japanese translation. These ones are really common, and these are for like S4, S5 type Mikunis, and maybe some other ones, I'm not 100% sure, and they mount like this with a banjo bolt that goes down, whereas my particular carbs, the banjo bolt is on this side, because these are PHH2s, so some of the earlier gen carbs. So yeah, essentially, huge shout out to him. Everybody told me these didn't exist, he couldn't find them, blah blah blah. He has a hookup and got me those over the winter, so we're gonna get those put on as well. And yeah, if anybody needs these, hit me up. I'm probably gonna sell them. I don't have carbs for them, so yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to get into. I don't think, unfortunately, I'll have a chance to get the clutch put in before driven. I'm just running out of time here with it coming this weekend. I got some other stuff going on with work this week, so we're just going to try to get kind of the little things that it needs done, like the fuel pump, battery are mandatory, and an oil change. And then hopefully the carbs are good. If I can't get the carbs sorted out, we'll just run with the Webers for now. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so just took off that first carb and kind of realized I'm an idiot because I was going to try to stick with this manifold and everything because it's on the car and the linkage works in this direction because the manifold on the other car is from a left-hand drive. But I just realized that when I took this off and measured, I realized, yeah, this is a manifold for 40s and those are 44s. So that's not really going to help me any, which means I need to run that Canon manifold that is on those carbs, which means I need to flip the linkage around, figure out the vacuum ports, and a whole bunch of other bullshit that I didn't want to do. So yeah, I'm going to have to pull this whole thing, and I guess we will try to fit the other manifold with the other carbs and the other linkages as well. And hopefully we can make that work. So we're going to pull the whole manifold. Alright guys, I've probably been motoring along a little bit on this, not talking as much, mainly just because I'm out of time to do it, but I want to still film this before it ends up in the car. So, went along and installed the filters in between the velocity stacks, as you can see here, so that's all put in. Also installed the fuel pipes, as they call them, or the banjo fittings, and then the fuel line. I used Oetiker clamps on these just because I think it looks a little more classic and less homemade than just using hose clamps. I ended up having to run this essentially, it's kind of the way I wanted. I wasn't planning on doing it before the show on the weekend, but because this L fuel pipe is going this way and not this way, if I had it over here, there's actually kind of a bore cut into these. Actually, this is probably the easier way to see. So on these ones, it's the same on these. That little edge there is a narrow diameter that fits the banjo, and that's a wider diameter. So if I were to flip it to run it here, it kind of has some play. I'm sure it would seal up with a copper washer, but it's clearly designed to be used like one way. Now, I don't know if they just shipped me the wrong one of these or what, but anyways, I decided to essentially, instead of routing the fuel line around the front of the engine and in and ending it here, I'm actually going to route it around the back of the engine and into here, and that'll actually make for a much cleaner up front, in front of the valve cover, etc. So yeah, assembled that, put the Oetiker clamps on. There was whoever previously had this manifold had a vacuum port on here, and it was open atmosphere. So I just picked up, it's sitting here somewhere, I'll throw it in, but I picked up just a little plug for that, and I'm gonna throw that in. Oh, here it is right here. So we'll throw that in, throw some Teflon on it, and just make sure the rest of these, this vacuum port we'll use for the brake booster. And then I just had to run out and pick up some more 5/8 fuel line. Everything's now going to be 5/8 from the fuel pressure regulator, well, the whole car essentially, from the fuel pump to the fuel pressure regulator, etc. So yeah, we're pretty much at the point where I'm going to bolt these on. I think I do need to flip this cam around because it's going to want to, yeah, it's going to pull, the cable's going to pull the other way, so I will need to flip this around, I believe, but I might just do that in the car. So anyways, let's get these mocked up and make sure that the manifold and everything fits on, and we'll see where we're at. So as you saw me probably kind of struggling a bit to get the manifold on, I come to realize that these little ears that are coming off the bottom, they get essentially a bolt that goes and clamps the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold right there, are just a little bit long. You can see the original one here. If I line it up, probably give you a little bit better idea kind of how much I took off. And that's just because it's bottoming out. There's the plate, the exhaust manifold that runs on is bottoming out a bit. So not so bad here. I could get the bolts in. These ones I couldn't get the bolts in. These ones I could just almost get them in. So obviously took the most off these two middle ones here. And I haven't done this one yet just to show you. And I took some off here. So yeah, just taking a little bit off the bottom, rounding it out nice. Just using the file belt sander, which works perfect for this type of application. And yeah, we're just going to clean that up, and then we can go to trying to fit it back to the car again. All right. Well, this thing's starting to come together. Got the carbs on and mounted. Got the linkage flipped around to be the correct way. Still maybe not the best bracket. I might rebuild that bracket to put the throttle cable in a little bit better position. I kind of have the fuel hose and vacuum hose just jerry-rigged up for right now. I want to fire the car up and make sure it idles and set the idle, or just enough to get it running. I don't think tonight I'll have a chance to rip it out and see. Also got the battery mounted, a new battery in this with a little bit different battery mounting setup. I got to remove the strap yet and clean up some of this stuff from the front end. Different valve cover that I just took off the Series 1 because I got the proper Series 1 valve cover for that car, and I thought, I should have thrown it on here for now. It's better than one that's just painted black. So not my choice in color for this particular car, but it'll do for now. So let's fire it up. Hard to see how it runs because I won't be able to get a chance to warm it up, but I mean, it is running, so that's pretty fucking sick. Right on. Well, there you have it. I'm probably going to cap it for tonight and come wrap the rest of the little things up tomorrow, and take it for a drive tomorrow as well. And then we'll really get to see how it's actually performing. So for probably just tonight, I'm going to cap off the fuel line. I left it long because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to reroute it, but I think it's going to be fine. Looks so much cleaner that way as well. So I'll reroute that and reroute the vacuum tube for the brake booster as well, and yeah, we should be cooking with fire. So see how that goes. Alright guys, so just been playing around with a few things now that I got the carbs on, and of course should use my other hand for this here. There we go. I can't put the hood prop in because the car jacked up and then it hits on the hoist. But anyways, the carbs are in. They run surprisingly good, better than I was actually expecting, considering these particular carbs came off a 3.1 stroker, so they're probably slightly over jetted. Although I'm actually getting a little bit of lean on the idle side / pilot side, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but just been playing around a little bit with it. Unfortunately, the carb at the back and the one in the front, not the one in the middle, are leaking a bit of fuel out their bowl gaskets, probably because these carbs have been sitting around for quite a while and not on a car. I'm gonna attempt to tighten it up for now. It's very little bit. It's kind of just sweating, but overnight it'll actually have a drip go onto the manifold, so kind of dangerous. I don't know if I'll get it. I won't be able to get parts before this weekend, so I'll probably just have to keep an eye on it, rock with it. New batteries in, can definitely tell a difference there. Car starts so much better. And I just got it jacked up right now because changing the oil. This oil is quite old in it from last year, so definitely overdue for a change. So yeah, we're just gonna get the oil changed, and then I might just try tightening up those bowls. They're just flathead screws on the bottom. I just gotta wait for the car to cool down before I reach around the manifold. And yeah, we'll tighten them up a bit. Maybe that'll help a little bit with the sweating. Other than that, I'm probably not gonna mess with it too much before we go to the show on Saturday. Obviously, I want to tune it a little bit more. I did have the AFR hooked up, and it was running very, very lean on the idle circuit, and like 20 to 1. And so I cleaned that up a little bit, and I threw the synchronizer on it as well, and they're all pretty good. The last 4 chambers are very well in sync. This front one's a little bit out, but once again, probably not going to mess with it too much just before this weekend, as it's running good enough to drive there and run decent. So anyways, yeah, let's get an oil change done on it. We're going to give it a little bit of a detail as well, and yeah, get it kind of ready to rock and roll. So let's do it. Alright guys, next up on the list, we need to remove the signal stock and get this piece out that is broken in here. As you can see, this is the issue. And yeah, I just took mainly just the outer cover off and the screws, but I want to show you guys this because it's something I didn't actually know I had to ask on the C110 group. Thankfully, a guy by the name of Simon on there helped me out with this. You actually just press down on this button and rotate it in order to remove the horn button. I was super scared about damaging this in any way because this is GTR specific, or at least the red part is anyways. And somebody can maybe correct me on this. I do believe this wheel is also very GTR specific because it's leather wrapped and stitched versus just being wood, or I think they maybe even came rubber coated. I don't know. There might be people that know more than me about that, about whether the actual wheel is GTR. I'm pretty sure it is, but you might have been able to get this wheel, but with, I think all the GTXs and other ones were blue, and the GTR had the red. So anyways, after that, it's just a nut holding the steering wheel on, and then you can take that off, and then essentially that's going to get us to our signal assembly, which we'll be able to remove now. The other thing that I want to go over is I don't want to do too much to this wheel because it's kind of in original condition, not perfect obviously. But I just wanted to show you guys it's got a little bit of rust and pitting. I think this was kind of a raw, finishy aluminum material, like it wasn't polished when it was new. So what I did is I just took, you can kind of see the difference here, I just took a little bit of Mother's metal polish and just gave it a scrub with my hand and a little light wire brush, and just to clean that up. And it's still, a rough finish, but it looks a lot better. So I'm going to do that to the rest of these and just get them cleaned up, and maybe hit it on the back side a little bit too. I don't want to go into taking these horn buttons out or take that apart, but if I can at least just make it look a little bit better anyways. So yeah, let's get to doing that. You can see how much better that looks versus the bottom one already. Very nice. I'm going to give this a little hit of leather conditioner, and we're going to call it a day. Alright guys, just wanted to quickly show you what else we're working on. I thought these lenses looked a little rough. They've always kind of ticked me off, along with this and a few other things in the front end, but this is something I could do quick. So just like you see me do many times before, I use a headlight restoration kit with compound and some sandpaper, etc. And this is kind of what they look like. And I mean, unfortunately, these are pretty rough. They got lots of pits in them. And in this case, this one's even cracked, but still, world of difference just cleaning it up, cleaning the inside out, and then giving it a sand and polish. There's still lots of rock chips in it, but light years better, and it's gonna look light years better on the car just because it has a little bit more shine, especially in pictures and stuff. There you go, drop it, That's a good way to break it. And good thing that's the one that's already broken. But anyways, just wanted to quickly touch base on that. Just trying to get as many things done as I can before the weekend here, so we're down to the wire. And tomorrow night will be time to detail the whole car, and then it's good to go for Saturday. So that might be a wrap for this. I'll maybe throw some detail and footage in here. If not though, catch you on the flip.